He was once hailed as one of the most explosive midfielders in rugby, a powerful runner, a defensive rock, and a game changer whenever he had the ball. But what happened when Nani Laumape went from a rising NRL talent to an All Black, only to be dropped and left chasing opportunities overseas? His journey is one of skill, controversy, and financial decisions that changed the trajectory of his career. Ngani Laumape's story didn't start on a rugby field. Like many Pacific Island athletes, growing up in New Zealand, his raw talent was first noticed in rugby league. The fast pace, physicality, and aggressive running style of league suited him perfectly. It wasn't long before the NRL came calling. The Warriors picked him up as a promising young player, and he made his debut in 2013. Over the next couple of seasons, Laumape showed promise, but injuries and competitions for spots made it tough for him to cement a starting position. Financially, NRL contracts for young players can be tricky. While top-tier stars can earn well into the millions per season, young players breaking into first grade typically sign lower-tier deals. Laumape's contract with the Warriors was estimated to be around $100,000 per year New Zealand dollars. Decent, but nowhere near the life-changing money. By 2015, with limited opportunities and an uncertain future in league, he made a bold decision to switch codes and try his luck in rugby union. Switching from league to union isn't easy. The skill sets are different, the tactics are more complex, and the positional awareness required in rugby can take years to master. But Laumape's power suited the midfield perfectly. The Hurricanes took a chance on him, and he repaid them almost instantly. His ball-carrying ability was explosive, and he quickly became one of the most destructive second 5/8s in Super Rugby. By 2017, Laumape's performances were impossible to ignore. His ability to break tackles, offload in contact, and finish tries made him a standout. He was rewarded with an All Blacks call-up. It was a huge moment, going from an NRL cast-off to an All Blacks in just a couple of years. His international debut came against the British and Irish Lions, one of the most intense tests a player can experience. And while he performed well, breaking the line and showing his trademark power, his place in the squad was never fully secure. Following his debut, Laumape continued to make an impression in the black jersey. Between 2017 and 2021, he played 15 tests for the All Blacks and scoring 8 tries. His ability to power through defensive lines and his explosive speed off the mark made him a genuine threat wherever he had the ball. He was often used as an impact player, coming off the bench to inject physicality into the midfield. However, he also had several standout performances as a starter. One of his most memorable performances came in 2018 against France in Wellington. Laumape scored 2 tries, demonstrating his brute strength and acceleration. In that match, he carried the ball 15 times for over 100 metres, broke multiple tackles, and showed why he was such a unique weapon in the All Blacks arsenal. Statistically, Laumape's impact was clear. He averaged over 40 metres per game in the Test rugby, with a high percentage of dominant carries. His tackle break rate was among the best in the squad, often ranking alongside the likes of Rieko Ioane and Damian McKenzie. His strike rate of a try every 1.87 games was also impressive for a midfielder, proving that he was more than just a battering ram. He could finish as well. Despite his on-field impact, Laumape never seemed to be guaranteed a starter for the All Blacks. New Zealanders' midfield stocks were deep, with players like Sonny Bill Williams, Jack Goodhue and Anton Lienert-Brown often preferred. Laumape's direct physical approach was different from the traditional playmaking style midfielders the selectors favoured. He was often seen as a backup option rather than a first-choice player. Salaries in New Zealand rugby are structured differently from overseas leagues. While the top players can earn over $1 million per year with a combination of Super Rugby and national team contracts, fringe players don't see the same money. Laumape's estimated salary with the Hurricanes and All Blacks was around $400,000 to $500,000 per year. Solid, but still not at the top end. Given the demands of professional rugby, constant travel and physical toll, it's understandable why some players begin looking at overseas options early in their careers. Then came the shock decision. Laumape was left out of the All Blacks squad in 2021. Despite being in his prime and one of the most dominant midfielders in Super Rugby, he was overlooked. Was it his playing style? Did he not fit the game plan? The real reason was never fully explained. but the decision frustrated fans who believed he had more to offer. Many felt that Laumape had been underappreciated and that his skill set was unique enough to bring a different dimension to the team. Without a future in the All Blacks and with contract negotiations stalling, Laumape made a career-defining move. He left New Zealand rugby to play in Europe, and this is where the money really changed. French clubs in the top 14 are known for offering huge salaries, often outbidding New Zealand rugby for top talent. When Laumape signed with Stade de France, his reported salary jumped up to well over $1 million per season. In one move, he had doubled, if not tripled, his earnings. This highlights a key issue in New Zealand rugby. While the All Blacks brand is one of the most respected in world sport, their financial muscle simply cannot compete with the deep pockets of European clubs. Players who choose to stay in New Zealand do so largely out of national pride or desire to play international rugby. But for those who prioritise financial security, the decision to move abroad is becoming increasingly common. New Zealand players often leave for European clubs towards the end of their careers, to cash in before retirement. But Laumape was still in his prime, choosing financial security over chasing a spot in the All Blacks. The reality is that New Zealand rugby struggles to compete with the financial power of French and Japanese clubs. Even top-tier All Blacks like Beauden Barrett and Brodie Retallick have taken overseas sabbaticals for higher pay. Laumape simply made the move earlier than most. His time in France hasn't been without challenges. European rugby is different, more structured, slower pace, and heavily focused on forward play. While his explosive running is still a weapon, adapting to a new system, culture, and language was never going to be easy. But he's still having an impact, proving why he was once considered one of the All Blacks' most powerful midfielders. Stade de France had relied on him to bring the physical edge to their backline, and he had delivered with solid performances. The debate over Laumape's exclusion from the All Blacks continues. Many believe he was never given a fair chance, while others argue his playing style didn't fit New Zealand's approach. Regardless, his career choices have set him up financially in a way that staying in New Zealand could never have. The question now is, will we ever see him back in an All Blacks jersey, or has he closed the chapter for good? The New Zealand Rugby Union rarely selects overseas-based players unless they're absolute superstars. With the next Rugby World Cup cycle in motion, Laumape's chances of a return seem slim. But if injuries or a lack of midfield depth forces selectors to reconsider, would he even want to come back? The pay cut to return to Super Rugby would be significant, and at this stage of his career, financial security might be his priority. From the NRL to Super Rugby, from the All Blacks to the European club scene, Nani Laumape's journey is a reminder of how unpredictable professional sports can be. Talent alone doesn't guarantee selection, and sometimes financial decisions outweigh national pride. He may have not got the fairy tale All Blacks career that some expected, but one thing is clear. He's made choices that have set him up for life, and at the end of the day, that might be one of the smartest plays of all. His story is also a reflection of the broader challenges New Zealand rugby faces. Can they continue to keep top talent in the country when the financial gap is so wide? Will more young players follow Laumape's path and leave earlier in their careers? The sport is changing and players are more aware than ever of their worth. Laumape's decision was controversial, but it was also a sign of the times. And as long as the European clubs are willing to pay top dollar, these kinds of moves will only become more common. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.